Welcome to the daily life of Sin.
Hey guys, how's it going? So I know that I haven't really uploaded anything as of late. You have to forgive me guys because work has been really hectic and stuff that people do in real life is has really caught up to me. So I thought of making a video on what exactly do I do on a daily basis. So right now it's 6:10 in the morning, and the first thing that we need to do, of course, is to cook. Go downstairs, check out grandma, and cook our breakfast. But before we go down, I'm gonna show you guys something really cool. So basically, we live where goddamn tree. We're surrounded by mountains, so it's quite awesome. The sun hasn't really come up yet, but yeah, it's really cold, and the only noises that you could actually hear are the chickens and that kid over there. Anyway, so whoa. Alright, there we go. Alright, so we're gonna go down and we're gonna prepare grandma's or our breakfast. Alright, so we're here downstairs, and basically what we're going to cook for breakfast is eggplant. So here we call it as tortang talong. That's how I'm going to cook it. It's basically like omelette. Wait a minute. I don't even know how you call it in English, but basically we're going to fry it or roast this. No, it's not roast. What's the proper term? I don't know. I'm just gonna show you. My brain is not working. It's what 6:20 in the morning, and yeah, I'm just gonna show you how it's done. So it's basically like omelette but with eggplant. So yeah, and grandma is over there enjoying her so how do I point it? Okay. Enjoying her coffee. So let's get into cooking stuff. So before we grill it, yeah, I think that's the proper term. Before we grill it, we poke some holes in it so that the insides get cooked as well. So I'm cooking two because one won't be enough for the both of us. After that, we're gonna fire up the stove. Oh shit! Okay. Alright, there we go. I'm gonna fire up the stove, and we're basically gonna grill it. Basically, what we wanna do is we wanna burn the outer part of the eggplant so that we can peel them off. I don't know if you could see it from there. Maybe not. Hold on. Let me just put it a little bit closer. Alright, there we go. It's a bit farther from the socket, so I need to be careful here not to wet my camera. Alright, so basically this is how it's supposed to look like. It's very charred and very burnt, but that's okay because that will enable us to remove the outer part a lot more easier, because the only thing that we need is the inside, right? Which you know you will see later. So basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna put it in a basin filled with water, something like that. If you could see that, something like that, you know, just sink them in a little bit in order for them to cool down, and that's going to make the removal of its skin a lot more easier later. Set this one aside. Alright, so the next thing that we'll be needing are 2 eggs and salt and pepper. So basically you just need to beat these two with the egg yolk together. Oops. There we go. Next, we'll add a little bit of salt, pepper, so there they are. If you could see it, then we're gonna mix the fuck out of them. A little more. Alrighty then. So that's that. Then the next thing we need to do is we'll need to peel off the skin, or what do you call this? I don't even know what you call it. Yeah, the skin of the eggplant. So basically this is the part that we need without its skin, and the next thing that we'll... Shut up, chicken! The next thing that we'll do is, of course, we're gonna put it in our egg, and we're gonna do the same thing with the second one. Right, so after that, what we're gonna do is we're gonna press the eggplant toward, press it down so that it would... Shut up, chicken! So that it would, you know, flatten out like so. It needs to look something like this. Just flatten it out. It's really easy. Do the same for the other eggplant. God damn all these fucking chickens! Ooh, egg thingies there. Alright, and then they should look something like this. Very flat, you know, as flat as you can. Doesn't really matter how much, you know, just as flat as humanly possible, I guess. Alright, so the next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna fry these things. So alright, the next thing, we'll need a frying pan, and then, you know, put some oil in it, and then make sure that the oil is like super hot. You know, I mean not super hot, you know, just enough for us to be able to fry. I have my fire set to the lowest, and I just kind of wait for the for the oil to smoke up, and that's that's the cue, or that's the thing that that's gonna tell us that it's hot enough. So we're gonna put our eggplants now. Oh, look at that! That is super amazing. Yeah. Then finally, we're gonna put our the remainder of our egg. Just put it on top of them, maybe, I guess. Yeah, something like that. It's basically just like omelette, but with eggplants, I guess you could say that. Then afterwards, we're gonna put a little bit of basil over here, or basil, depending on where you live. And then we're gonna put a little bit of oregano, just to add a little bit of flavor to the eggplant. And then we're gonna let that sit down for about, I don't know, just a couple of minutes, I guess, just enough so that we could turn it upside down without actually breaking the form. Usually it turns brown around the side part of the eggplant. Alright, so once the sides are, the side of the omelette are already, or the side of the eggplant are already colored dark brown. I'm not exactly sure if you could see that. I can't really see my camera if you guys could see it. But anyway, once all of the sides are already golden or dark brown, it's time to actually flip it up. So here's how we do it. There we go. And now we just wait for the other side to cook. It takes about, I don't know, 4 minutes, I guess. I'm still cooking the dish at low heat, lowest heat, as slow as we can. Alright, so now it's done. It's basically going to look like this. I wish you guys could smell it. It smells absolutely good. So yeah, and we're gonna have our breakfast. Here we go. It's good. And I would really love this with soy. It really tastes amazing. Soy and chili, I should say. Alright, so breakfast is over, and the next thing that I need to do is to make my grandma take her meds. She's taking 2 types of medicine. The first one is Norvasc, 5 milligrams, and the other one is Vastarel MR. I'm not exactly sure which one's for the heart and which one's for her blood pressure, but yeah, this Norvasc thing is, she takes it once a day during her breakfast. The Vastarel MR is twice a day, one in the morning after breakfast, and another one in the evening before she goes to sleep. And then afterwards, there's more work. I have to clean whatever mess there is in here and basically do the dishes. And it's a good sunny Friday, so we'll probably do the laundry, I guess. I'll see you guys later.
Hey guys, so I'm basically done with work. So I've finished doing a little bit of cleaning downstairs and washing the dishes. And at this time, around what time is it? 7:35, 7:40. Grandma goes back to her room, and she just plays cards, and sometimes she sleeps, and oftentimes if she feels like it, she walks around the garden. So I'm just gonna rest for a bit, take a breather. Last night I was able to sleep at around 2 a.m., 2 or 3 a.m. That's because of work. Normally I start work at around 6 p.m. From Mondays through Fridays. I start from 6 p.m. and then I end my work shifts at around 2 o'clock or 2:30, depending on how heavy the workload is. And then of course I need to wake up at around 6 to 6:30 in order to cook breakfast for Grandma. So that's what, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 4 hours of sleep tops. Sometimes I don't really get it, especially if insomnia kicks in. If insomnia kicks in, there's no sleeping. The only time that I will probably get some sleep, if I don't do any laundry or anything else, is after breakfast. That's around 8 a.m. probably. Then I need to wake up at around 11 o'clock to cook lunch, of course. And when I cook lunch, I make sure that I don't cook dinner. I make sure that there's enough so that I don't take the time to cook dinner. So that just eat dinner, and then afterwards I could immediately get back to work because my work starts at 6. So we typically eat at around what, 5:45 probably, or 6:30. I know that's very early for dinner, but it's how it works. Sometimes Grandma eats at around 9 again, 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. I could tell because I could hear her move downstairs, getting some spoon and fork, opening the what do you call this, opening the food container and all of that. And yeah. Hey guys, how's it going? So it's already almost 11 o'clock, quarter to 11. And as promised, we are going to cook lunch. Why is the video going blur? I don't know. Well, anyway, so for lunch, I decided to prepare that. I decided to prepare chicken curry. So let's take a look at what we're going to have over here. So this will be our veggies. What do you call this? Potatoes and carrots. Then we have what is this? Garlic, ginger, and then onions. And then we have, what is this? Celery, and then to top it all off, onion leaves. Of course, we're going to need a curry powder for this. And I actually forgot the what do you call this? The long green chilies. So yeah, I guess this will have to do. Alright, first we're gonna put the garlic. Then when that turns brown, I guess we're gonna put the onions. I'm gonna stir a little bit, maybe wait a couple of seconds. Then we're gonna add our ginger. So it's basically going to fry all of these. Wait for the, what do you call this? Wait for the onions to go brown a bit, I guess. I always love this part because all of these three actually smell good when you're
stir frying them. It's amazing. Right. Afterwards, we're gonna add what we're gonna add. We're gonna add the chicken, like right about now. Alright, so for the parts, it will be up to you what parts you would like, but the parts that are chose is the wing part or the shoulder part of the chicken, and then the backbone part. Now, the reason that I chose the backbone is because I don't know. I think it's one of the most delicious parts of the chicken, although it doesn't really have that much meat. It still, it still tastes pretty good or pretty amazing. You can add in legs if you want to, legs or thigh. But yeah. So basically, what I'm doing here is I'm cooking this serving for now for lunch and then for dinner, so that it actually saves me some time later in the evening, so that I don't cook anymore. I'm just gonna raise the fire a little bit. Alright, so we're just gonna continue on mixing these so that it does turn brown a bit. Again, so you can cook this in two ways. First, you can cook it with before putting the chicken, you can already put the water, wait for it to boil, and then put the chicken. Or you can fry the chicken first so that it's going to be a little bit crispy, I guess, and then add in some water. So it's up to you. It really depends. The end game is, or the end result is always the same, basically. Alright, so after a few minutes, we're gonna add water. Of course, it will be up to you on how much soup you want. Some people don't really like too much soup in it or too much water in it. But Grandma likes to sip soup, so I always add more water. And then we're gonna add in, this is the perfect time to add the potatoes and carrots, because by the time that this is boiling and by the time that the chicken meat gets soft, the vegetable will be cooked. So two birds with one stone, I should say. Two stones with one bird. No, that's wrong. So we're gonna wait for that one to boil, and then we're gonna add in our ingredients, specifically our chicken curry over here, curry powder, not chicken curry, curry powder. Of course, we're gonna add cubes. This is what you call chicken cubes. Professional cooks won't add such things, but I'm no professional cook, so I'm gonna need help. We're gonna add salt, we're gonna add pepper, and we're gonna add oregano, we're gonna add basil leaves, and finally, when everything's already cooked, we're gonna add the celery and the onion leaves. Alright, so this has been boiling for about 10 minutes now, and I guess this is the best time to put in the ingredients. Now, the reason that I didn't put everything, on the first or before it boiled is because that basically the water is going to evaporate, and together with that, if you put all of the ingredients in, the ingredients itself or the taste will also evaporate. So you want to put all of the ingredients just maybe a couple of minutes before the meat and the vegetables are actually cooked. So we're gonna put in the curry powder first. Then we're gonna put the chicken cubes, which adds more flavor to the dish. Next, we're gonna add this. It's called Magic Sarap. Not hashtag not sponsored. I'm just gonna put some of these here, like so. Basically, just this is just going to add, you know, more flavor to the food, or the chicken curry. Now we're gonna want to mix it all up a bit. There we go. God, it smells good. I love chicken curry. I did forget the you know, long green chili. I usually put chili in this. Then we're gonna put some ground pepper, just a little bit, or just a little. You don't want to put a lot because that's going to make the chicken curry a bit spicy, and you know, Grandma doesn't want it. If it was me only, you know, I'd love to put in as much pepper aside as much as possible. Alright, so we're gonna leave that a bit, and then we're gonna have a little taste. Where is the... yes, this will do. I'm gonna leave that for about a minute or two, just so that everything gets mixed up. Let's have a taste. As suspected, it's lacking salt. So we're gonna put just a tiny pinch, maybe something like this will do. Don't want it to become too salty. And I'm gonna mix it up a bit. But now we're gonna lower the fire because we don't want to overcook the vegetables. Alright, there we go. Now we're gonna have another taste here. Ah, son of a bitch, that's perfect. Alright, so basically this is already cooked. The last touches that we're gonna do is, of course, the celery. Now this is very optional, you know. Not all chicken curry meals have this. It's just, you know, my little touch. And then, of course, finally we're gonna add the onion leaves. Now you want the celery and the onion leaves as raw as possible, but we're gonna you know, leave it here for about just a couple of seconds, maybe 30 or so, you know, so that the heat actually kills some of it, or the bacteria, I should say.
Sarap. Sarap.
I think she likes it!
Ay, nandiyan naman ako.
No.
Ala, pada. Hoy, nandiyan ka. Kakain ako, loko ka. Lenggong ka. Masarap naman lang sabaw mo, di?
Sarap?
Oo. Hindi ka nagbebetsin, ano?
Hindi, walang betchin.
Sarap sabaw.
Alright, so after lunch, the next thing that we will do is, of course, feed my cute little dog. I'm going to show her to you. That is her right there. Hello. How are you? By the way, her name is Chichi Von Popster de los Romulos El Hombre Tequila con Andrea Marco, Francesca Luca Mataya de la Alejandra Romualdez, La Remedio Cipriano de la Santísima Trinidad. For short, we just call her Chichi. Chichi! There she is. And basically what she's going to eat are our remnants of bones and then some rice. And then I decided to put some corned beef in there. Now I did try to buy 3 types of dog foods from the pet store. And somehow she doesn't really eat it. And it's quite expensive. Here it's sold at 64 pesos per kilo, so that's more expensive than our rice. God, the lighting is so bad here. Anyway, so that's more expensive than human rice. So yeah, she doesn't really eat it, as in totally she doesn't eat it. She just ignores it. Even though according to the instructions, you need to add water, I guess. But yeah, she doesn't eat it. And the reason that she is all tied up like so over here is because this bad girl, you know, once you set her free, she tends to destroy plants, like all of the plants over here and there. And then she tried destroying plants over there. It's just a mess. So yeah, most of the time she's just tied up. I do turn her loose sometimes when I'm down here, you know, when I'm watering the plants in the afternoon. That's the only time that I turn her loose. But aside from that, of course, yeah, she's mostly tied up. Alright, let's put her food now. Come on. Okay. I'm gonna wash your dish first. There you go. Your Majesty. Just the way you like it. Disgusting. So as you can see, there's a lot of cleaning to do. Look at all those dishes that I need to wash. I need to wash this too, and of course I need to clean up the table over here. Anyway, I'm not gonna record all of that because that's going to consume a lot of RAM, or not RAM, a lot of memory. Jesus, look at that. That's a lot of work. Anyway, so I'm gonna see you guys later after I, you know, finish cleaning all this stuff, right? See you guys later. Hey guys, so I've just finished cleaning downstairs. Just finished, you know, washing the dishes and basically cleaning all the, you know, food that were littered down the floor by Grandma, because she couldn't really control her movements really well, and food tends to, you know, fall, and she creates a huge mess. You know, wherever she's seated, so you have to clean all of that, because if you don't, you know, ants are going to be all over the place, and you know, you don't really want that to happen. It's going to be a huge mess, or a bigger mess. Yeah, plus, you know, one of the hardest things are that's why I really hate washing the dishes is, you know, you need to wash all those cooking pans, which are huge cooking pans. You need to wash them around 3 to 4 times, or maybe 2. You know, it really depends, because sometimes even if you wash it like once or twice, the smell of the food or the odor of the food that you previously cooked it from is still going to be stuck there. So yeah, it'll be you know, it'll be hard work, like probably 4 times before you could, you know, get rid of the odor. Alright, so normally it's already what, it's already 12:35 in the afternoon. Normally I'm going to normally I'd crash, I'd sleep because I'm going to work later around 6 to 6:30. It really depends. But I want to show you guys something. So this is my Magic the Gathering cards, or whatever's left of it. I used to have a whole shoebox of these cards, 2 or 3 shoe boxes of this card. I was so addicted to this game like way back in 1996 when I was in high school. We used to play this a lot with my friends. 96, 97, 98. Those were the glorious days of our Magic the Gathering playtimes. Yeah, I used to love this name, Anvil of Bogarden. Yeah, that's awesome. And then what else do we have here? So these are just maybe, as common as they could get. I never actually had anything that was, expensive or rare. If I did, I probably sold it. I don't know. I just couldn't really remember where all of my cards went, throughout the years. Yeah, so I'm not exactly sure if there's a deck here. Maybe you could create a creature deck. You see, I think this is like 4 grizzly bears. You could play that, I guess. 2 to cast and 2/2. That's fast, I guess. Then you have Valduvian bears. You have the crowworm over here. I really loved the green, the green part of Magic the Gathering, because they provide a lot of monsters, different monsters like this crowworm. Look at that. But this one is 6 to cast. So, no, 4 or 5. Yeah, 6 to cast. It has an attack of 6/4. 6, and it has a life of 4. So it's not really effective because 6 mana is actually pretty high. I think the only this one I really love this. I used to create a shooter deck. As you can see, the Prodigal Sorcerer deals 1 damage to target creature or player. The way you played this is if this was played every end of your turn. If you had like 4 like this, you're going to shoot your the player for a damage of 4 if you had 4 cards, and then when your turn comes, you're going to untap it. Basically, you shoot the player every after end of his turn. And I'm pretty sure that there's another one of this, but it's a different name. So which also deals 1 damage to creature or player. So yeah, he's basically dead in just a couple of turns, unless he kills it. So the only this one's I think is the last expensive thing that I have. I don't even know how much this is, but way back then, this is the Sanger Vampire is actually pretty expensive. I had 4 of these plus Baron Sanger. So yeah, these were pretty expensive back then. I'm not exactly sure now on how much that is. Spell Blast. So see, this is our I didn't know that this was still alive. So yeah, you have like 4 of these plus the 2 over here. So as you can see, that's already 8 damage if I have the complete. Alright, there we go. Okay, here we go. So we have 4. So that's 4 damage, and then there's an additional 4 damage. If all of this are, played on deck, so that's like, again, 16 damage, or 8 damage at the end of his turn, and then an additional 8 damage on your turn. So it's pretty OP, I guess. Alright, so down to the deck. This is my actual deck right here. Alright, so let's talk about my actual deck. So this deck is a discarder. Now what a discarder is, basically, the idea is for you to basically discard all of your enemy's cards on hand. Say for example, at the end of the target's the rack. At the end of target opponent's upkeep, the rack deals that player 1 damage for each card in his or her hand fewer than 3. So yeah, every time that or every end of your opponent's turn, This one deals 2 damage on him. And then we have Drain Life over here, which basically you pay 2 and then you pay X amount of mana, and you can gain life or drain life from your enemy. And then we have the Hypnotic Spectre. I'm sorry. So this is a flying. The opponent damage by the Spectre discards a card at random from his or her hand. Ignore this effect if the opponent has no cards in hand. So yeah, basically every time almost any creature over here is the same, which basically makes your opponent discard a card on his or her hand every time they hit it. This is the Abyssal Spectre. Whenever the Abyssal Spectre damages any player, that player chooses and discards a card from his or her hand. See? So this is the discarder. I think the combo is this one, Cursed Rack. Target opponent discards down 2 to 4 cards. Discards down to 4 cards during his or her discard phase. So once this is down, and then you attack with an Abyssal Spectre, and then he wasn't able to block it, instead of discarding 1 card, he is going to discard 4 cards instead. So it's pretty OP. We have Terror over here, which basically makes it it's an instant. So if you attack, if you attack with your Abyssal Spectre, and then he has a flying creature, and then that flying creature blocks your Abyssal Spectre, you can then cast Terror to basically destroy that monster, because this is instant, right? And then we have Hymn to Torak. Target player discards 2 cards at random from his or her hand. If target player does not have enough hand, his or her entire hand is discarded. So yeah, it's one of the most annoying decks that you could probably fight with. Elder of the Ebon Hand. What is this? Protection from white. +1/+0 until end of turn, and he gains a first strike. So yeah, creature coercion. Look at target opponent's hand, choose a card from that player's hand. That player discards that card. Oh my god, you can see it's just 3 to cast, and if you have this, it's absolutely annoying. You'll be able to look at your opponent's cards, and yeah, you'll be able to choose whichever card that you want him or her to discard. Black Vice. At the end of the target opponent's upkeep, Black Vice deals that player 1 damage for each card in his or her hand in excess of 4. So as you can see, it's a combo with the rack. So if he has less card than 3, it deals 2 damage. If it has excess of 4, it deals how many cards is, I don't remember if it's 7 or 6. So that's 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. If he has 7 cards, so that's going to deal 3 more damage. So that's the combo. And both of these are just 1 to cast. So yeah, he's really fucked up. Not unless he can destroy the artifact, of course. Order of the Ebon Hand. Again, we have Drain Life. Unholy Strength. Target creature. It's just 1 to cast. It's really easy. You have 4. I think I have 4 of these. So target creature gets +2/+1, +2 attack, and then +1 life. So yeah, you basically put that with the Abyssal Spectre. The Abyssal Spectre then gains 4 attack and 4 life. So that's going to be like that. Hymn to Torak again. We have some swamps. Mindstab Thrall. If Mindstab Thrall attacks and is not blocked, you may sacrifice it to force the player attacked to discard 3 cards. If you do so, it deals no damage during combat this turn. If that player does not have enough cards in his or her entire hand is discarded. Yeah, you're definitely fucked. Insidious Bookworms. Why do I have this? Target player discards a card at random from his or her hand. Use this ability only when Insidious Worm is put into the graveyard from play. You cannot spend more than 2 mana cost in this way each turn. So yeah, that's a bitch. Black Knights were really popular back then because it's really fast, and it has the first strike protection from white. So basically, white cards or white monsters cannot white creatures cannot block this. it has first strike, so even if it dies, it deals the 2 damage. Plus, it's only 2 to cast, so it's really fast, and that's why we, that's why I really love it. Order. Alright, so we have another different version of the Black Knight. I'm not sure which edition this is, so yeah. Now I have another Black Knight over here, so I guess I have 4. If I don't have 4, then so we have another Darak here. I think you can only have one when it comes to artifacts. I think you can only have one, if I'm not mistaken. One at play. But you could have one at hand. So if one of your racks get destroyed, you can cast another one, I guess. But you can't have 2. That's what I remember. I'm not exactly sure. And we have Terror, Swamp, Might Trap, and Holy Strength. And that's about the rest of my cards. I had probably 2 or 3 boxes of magic cards when I was in shoe boxes of magic cards when I was in high school, but I don't know where everything is like right now. That was way back in the 90s, way back 96 and 97, and it's already 2018. I'm not exactly sure what happened, but you can rest assured that this deck was a bitch back then. I'm really proud of this deck. Alright, so that's a little bit of Sin Blackblade's history. I used to play a lot of Magic the Gathering when I was in high school, because there were the internet is not yet that popular back then, back in the 90s. So yeah, it's already 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Usually when I'm not tired or when I'm not really bogged down, this is the time where I try to level up and play some games, Path of Exile. It really depends, Diablo 3, Overwatch. But then I'm just totally, bogged down, and I'm just absolutely tired. And what I really want to do is just to get some shut-eye, because later in the afternoon, I need to wake up at around probably 5 or 5:30, and to prepare for dinner, and then afterwards, get into working. Saturdays are awesome because in the evening, that's the time when I could generally just play games all night because there's no work and all of that. But of course, it depends. Sometimes if I don't finish my work or there's a certain deadline to my projects, I tend to work through Saturdays and Sundays too. Alright, so I'm gonna see you guys later. I'm just gonna go take a little shut eye.